The main difference is really threefold. I would say the important difference is that there is no separate bike lanes. I mean, there are of course separate cycle lanes with the white line on the street, but not completely different infrastructure. So in the Netherlands, we have 35,000 kilometers of cycle lanes, parking garages in student cities, which have for tens of thousands of bikes. Another important difference is actually the whole culture around it. I see here often people completely dressed up in lycra and very sportive kind of cyclists, and in my regular clothes, I'm cycling, and it's also a different pace, I assume. And it also means within this culture that a lot of drivers of cars are not used to cycling themselves, and I think that is a big difference in the Netherlands, because all people in the cars, they all have a bike. There are more bikes than even people in the Netherlands, so everyone has a bike. So they can imagine that you are there and they see the vulnerability of a cyclist, and they take them really into account in what they are doing. From the Dutch perspective, it should be the car that really pays attention to the most vulnerable commuter, and that would be the pedestrian and the cyclist. Change of culture is very difficult, and it takes just a really long time. And I think also in the Netherlands, when we established our cycle culture, it took almost 40 years to really implement that it is so broadly used. I think the most important thing is indeed promoting that more people come on the road and that people feel comfortable that there are more cyclists on the roads. They are not the only ones. And especially that the drivers become cyclists themselves and feel also that it is important to watch for them. I think that in another way, very important is the education. Start young, start at schools. I think I really recommend also. I do think it's really important that there is also leadership. If you look at our Prime Minister Rutte, he uses the bike to go to his office, which is in the center of The Hague. The king, the queen, our princesses, the princesses always go daily with their bike to school. And I think by this kind of exemplary behavior, I think it really works well, that for everyone it becomes normal. And in the Netherlands also, it's not something about rich or poor or political party. It is really everyone uses a bike as a means of transport. And I think that that is really the strength in the whole idea about that it's becoming so normal. Nobody thinks about cycling in the Netherlands. I would say that I really commend already like what Wellington and the region is doing for cycling, because I think that there is already a lot of infrastructure that has been developed, and I see really it moves on, that there is really progress. I would say maybe more separate bike lanes so that people also trust that their kids can use the bike, and I really think that bike culture starts when you're really young and you're used to use the bike, and that makes it easier. Just try it 1-2 days a week, or do a combination between walking and cycling. It's not only good for the environment and for sustainability and climate change, but definitely also for health issues. And I think that everyone feels better if you're doing some exercise and then end up in your office behind the computer than just sitting in a car or in a bus.